This week, controversy erupted, not just over what happened, but over what was allegedly planned behind closed doors, and then quickly denied by those in power. The story gripped the nation, sparking heated debates across social media and newsrooms alike. Reports surfaced claiming Vice President J.D. Vance was set to host a high-stakes crisis dinner, aiming to manage the political fallout from the ever-expanding Epstein scandal. The alleged meeting was said to involve key administration figures and strategists. The administration's response was immediate and forceful. President Trump and Vance both dismissed the reports as fake news, calling them a political hoax designed to distract from their agenda and undermine their credibility. Yet, as more media outlets began to corroborate the dinner's existence, NBC News reported that the event was likely canceled at the last minute, possibly due to the leak itself. The story only grew more tangled as new details emerged. This raised a fundamental question. Was the meeting ever real, or was it a fabrication designed to manipulate public perception? The uncertainty fueled speculation and suspicion. The administration's aggressive denials, followed by partial confirmations from various sources, left the public doubting the government's honesty. Many Americans found themselves questioning who to believe. The episode highlights a deepening divide between official statements and media reporting, exposing the fragile relationship between the press and those in power. For everyday Americans, it's yet another confusing and frustrating chapter in the ongoing Epstein saga, adding to a growing sense of uncertainty and mistrust. The real issue at stake isn't just a canceled dinner, it's the erosion of trust between the government and the people, a rift that seems to widen with every new revelation. As the story lingers in the headlines, so do the questions about transparency, accountability, and whether the truth will ever fully come to light. The alleged guest list for the dinner was a who's who of power players. Attorney General Pam Bondi, Deputy AG Todd Blanche, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. Each attendee brought their own influence and agenda to the table, making the stakes even higher. This was no casual gathering, it was a war room assembled to navigate the explosive legal and political dangers swirling around the Epstein case. At the heart of the discussion, whether to release or suppress the full transcript and audio of Blanche's marathon 10-hour interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, a decision with far-reaching consequences. Maxwell's recent transfer to a lower security prison, coming just days after her secret interview, only fueled public suspicion and speculation about backroom deals. President Trump's refusal to rule out clemency for Maxwell intensified scrutiny, raising questions about who might be protected and why. Releasing the interview could expose powerful figures or spark a political firestorm. Suppressing it would only fuel accusations of a cover-up and deepen public mistrust. The very contemplation of this meeting shows just how precarious the administration's position is, with every move under a microscope. The Epstein saga's shadow looms large over every decision, casting doubt and uncertainty on the highest levels of power. President Trump recently pledged full transparency on the Epstein files, raising hopes for long-awaited answers. But the Department of Justice soon reversed course, announcing no further disclosures. This abrupt shift left the public and victims' families frustrated and suspicious. In response, the House Oversight Committee issued subpoenas demanding access to Epstein-related files, signaling bipartisan impatience. For survivors, especially the family of Virginia Giuffre, the administration's secrecy feels like a betrayal. The idea of a crisis dinner to manage fallout without input from victims deepens their sense of exclusion. The administration's retreat from openness has only intensified calls for accountability. The gap between promises and actions grows wider. The administration's response to the Epstein scandal has been to aggressively attack media outlets, hoping to control the narrative and discredit unfavorable coverage. This approach was on full display in its recent clash with the Wall Street Journal, one of the nation's most influential newspapers. After a damaging investigative story, Journal reporters were abruptly barred from joining a high-profile presidential trip, sending shockwaves through the press corps. In a further escalation, Trump filed a defamation suit against the paper, signaling a willingness to use legal threats to silence critics. But this combative strategy is faltering. Even Trump's own base is now demanding answers about his Epstein ties, with supporters growing restless and vocal. Dismissing all criticism as fake news no longer works when the questions are persistent, serious, and coming from all sides, including longtime allies. The administration is now considering new tactics. scrambling behind the scenes to find a way to regain control of the story. One idea is to have Deputy AG Blanche appear on a major podcast, hoping a direct address will calm the controversy and reach skeptical audiences. Meanwhile, the pressure from Congress, relentless media scrutiny, and a mobilized public is mounting by the day. The old playbook of denial and deflection is failing under the weight of the Epstein case, leaving officials visibly rattled. Across the country, the demand for truth is louder than ever, and the administration can no longer ignore the calls for accountability. The Epstein scandal endures because it's about power, abuse, and the quest for justice. Each denial and evasion only deepens public suspicion that the truth remains hidden. The crisis dinner controversy is just the latest reminder that Epstein's crimes still haunt the highest levels of power. The administration's actions, secret meetings, possible clemency, lawsuits, fuel a narrative of unequal justice. Every attempt to shut down the story only keeps it alive. The public, Congress, and victims' families are demanding real answers, not just words. Until there's genuine transparency, the scandal will cast a long shadow. The search for truth continues, and the nation is watching.